Hello, welcome to the Trading with Ashley show. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Have you ever heard of the term, you just have to ask for the sell? Well, I am going to ask you for something. I just have to ask you for the subscribe. I would love for me to pop into your inbox with tips and tricks on how to make money in the stock market. So if you would subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And while you're down there, if you'll just press that like button, I'd appreciate that too. I do have something that I'm going to be offering all of you that you only have another day to sign up for it. I am going to be offering you a free webinar. It's going to lay the groundwork for you to learn how to do the wheel strategy in retirement, or if you just want to do it as a side hobby. That's actually how I got started into option trading. I had a full-time job and I just started doing this on the side. And then quickly I realized that I could make so much more money if I focused just on trading. And that's how I built my trading career. So I'm going to teach you the basics of that on Sunday evening, so tomorrow night, and I need you to click the link below and sign up for it. But what I want to talk to you about today is all about Palantir. If you've never heard of Palantir, well, you probably haven't watched this channel, but if you have heard of Palantir, then you have seen the price action. Especially, I've been so impressed with what has gone on with Palantir in the last several months when even all of our Mag 7 stocks have dipped below their 200-day moving average. At least most of them have. Palantir has not. And that to me shows a lot of strength, especially because many are saying that this company is very overvalued for the revenue that they bring in today. But as we know, Wall Street's always forward-looking, and Palantir has an incredible future that I am so blessed and fortunate that I studied up on this company. And now I'm happy to say that I have over $500,000 in profit from my investments in Palantir, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to see what this becomes in the coming years. But we do have earnings coming up. Earnings are coming up on May the 5th. And typically, earnings is something that people like to shy away from due to the unknown, but most likely they are referring to purchasing calls or puts, betting on the direction of a stock. Well, as most of you know, I'm a put seller. So that elevated IV that comes with earnings, I actually can make more money by selling through an earnings event, especially since right now the IV is elevated, which is giving me more premium. But once the event is over and the news cycle is away from this particular stock, Palantir, the IV will come down to a nominal IV, which is pretty normal for Palantir to be around 60 on the IV. And right now it's trading in the mid 80s on most of the option chains. So when that comes down, these options that I am selling without anything happening, if the stock stayed flat, these would be in profit. So that's how I like to play this game so that I can maximize the opportunity. So today I have 3 different trades for you to consider based on your risk tolerance and also based on your budget. The first trade would require about $10,000 for you to put it on. The second trade is a little bit less risky. It would require you about $8,500 to put it on. And then the third trade would only require about $500 to put the trade on. So you have to do your own due diligence. I'm not a financial advisor. I've just figured out ways to manipulate the option world to my benefit. And so I was going through all these, doing my homework. I have a trading community and I'm constantly doing homework to try to find the best potential trade setups for them. So I decided to go ahead and make a video and offer these opportunities to you as well. Now, if you don't know how to trade options, then just paper trade these if you're not familiar with the concept, because I'd hate for you to lose money because you weren't sure of what you were doing. Okay, let's go into the computer. I'm going to show you the trade setups and you can consider if this is something that you want to play along with. The first thing I want to do is show you the analysis on Palantir. And you can see they have done great with all of their earnings the last 3 quarters, and this one is expected to do well as well. But what's most important when you're investing in a company is to ensure that they're profitable if you're going to put a considerable amount of money in it. Now, looking at this, you can see the blue is the revenue that Palantir brings in, and the yellow is the amount that they keep. And so this continues to grow with the revenue growth, which is most impressive for what Palantir offers. Next, I like to look at the chart just to get a better sense for what's happening with this stock. Now, if you look at Palantir right now, it is trading at the top of its Bollinger Band as close of business day on Friday. Also, we're nearing 70 on the RSI, so we are due for a potential pullback. And if that pullback happens this next week, that would be the best opportunity for you to consider doing the plays that I am about to show you. The other thing that I wanted to show you is when I had mentioned the 200-day moving average right here at 62, you can see since the beginning of the year, we have not hit the 200-day moving average. And so that is something that everyone felt like would happen with Palantir, but it continues to defy odds. The first play that I'm going to share with you would be a sold put on Palantir, and it would require about $10,000 in capital. Now, this particular play is going to offer an 84% annualized return. So if you look at the return that we will make in the time frame that we're looking at and you annualize it, that's where I get my 84%. So let's go into the option chain and I'll show you specifically what I'm looking at. If I am going to trade over earnings, I like to go to the third Friday of the month that we are looking at earnings because this is when all the institutions have lined up all of their plays. So if I do that, that's going to be on May the 16th. Now, if you come down here to the right side and you're looking at different opportunities, something stood out to me, and it's right here at this $100 mark. You see here that the open interest is 10,000. That is far greater than anything above or below it. So a lot of individuals that are interested in this stock, this is the line in the sand for them. And look, it is paying great premium. So if I were to sell the $100 strike, that would require that $10,000. At this point in time, I'll be paid about $489 for putting up $10,000. Now, what this means is if I sell the $100 strike and Palantir pulls back to that strike price on my expiration date, at the close of day, I would be put the shares, even if Palantir is trading below $100. So that's the risk in this trade. But if Palantir is trading at 100 or slightly above, then it'll be a great opportunity to make some wonderful premium. But let's look at our deltas just to double check everything. Our delta is 0.26, which means there's about a 26% chance at this point in time that Palantir would settle in at $100 by the expiration date. This is also showing me as Palantir oscillates up and down, this option price right here, it will change by 26 cents. So for 100 shares, $26. That's why I mentioned you want to wait for a pullback in the next week because what you're getting today for $489, this will increase if Palantir continues to pull closer to $100. So the return will actually be greater if you just wait for a red day. The second play is similar in nature into how it's executed, but this one is going out to November. When I go with these longer dated sold puts over earnings, what I'm doing is I'm leveraging the elevated IV to get good premium. Then when the IV dies down, I am purchasing it back, usually at about the 50% mark. For this particular play, if I do that, I will receive a 70% annualized return. So let's look at the specific play. Here we are on November the 21st, 2025, and I am looking at that $85 strike. So if you look at that right now, it's paying a little bit over $10 a share. So I would get $1,000 to put up $8,500 to agree to buy Palantir at this level. The deltas are good. It's at 0.2. But what I really want to show you is how cashing this in at 50% is very probable in the next couple of weeks. All we need is Palantir to shoot up after earnings, and you'll be able to exit this trade at 50% due to the volatility dynamic. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Here's the trade on an option calculator, and what I wanted to show you was right here down at implied volatility. Right now the volatility is elevated, but once that normalizes, it'll come down to about 60%. Well, let's look at the percentages and see when today that I received $1,020 for, what it will be at the 50% mark. How soon might we get there to about $500? If I go to my percentages, let's look right here. If Palantir increases to about the $118 mark, either on May the 9th or looking at May the 21st, I can exit this trade at the 50% profit level. And the reason that helps me with my annualized returns, it appears that I would be in this trade until November. And if Palantir tanks, well, then maybe I will. But if it does well, then this IV coming down allows me an exit just within a couple of weeks. And that gives me that 70% return if I'm able to exit this trade within about 3 weeks. Now, the third trade I am going to show you, the return is actually more significant, and it only requires about $500 in capital to put on this trade. But I will tell you, it is a riskier trade because it's simply a directional bet. With those sold puts I was sharing with you, there's a lot I can do if I select it wrong. I can wait, and then I can roll down and out, or I can be put the shares, wait for recovery, and then sell calls. With the trade I'm about to show you, there's less opportunities to exit gracefully. But nonetheless, this is used a lot of times with small accounts if you have a strong conviction that the trade is going to go up over time. So to open up this trade, I'm going to go to August the 15th, and I like going a few months out when I'm doing these because it allows for the movement of the stock, and then I can get out of the trade before the expiration date usually. So when I look at this, I'm going to look to the right side of the option chain. And again, I'm going to go to that $85 mark to start this trade. This involves selling a put right here, sell put at the $85 strike. For that, I am going to receive $660. But I did mention to you that this is only going to require $500. If you put this trade on without the second part of the trade, it would require the $8,500. But I am going to also purchase a put. I'm going to purchase the $80 put right here. And that is going to cost me $5.30. So this is a $5 wide put credit spread, and this 85 minus 80 is 5. If you multiply that by 100, that's the $500 in capital that this trade is going to require. Now, when you put this trade on a ticket, here you can see the $125 that I will be receiving. The reason, instead of saying $500, that it's only showing $375 is because they are accounting for the credit that I received. Now, when you do put credit spreads, the reward to risk ratio, I like to have this 3-to-1 dynamic, meaning whatever I receive, that my risk is about 3 times as much. Now, when you put these trades on, you could, if Palantir continues to run up, you could just let it run. But what I like to do is I like to exit much sooner than my expiration date. And the way that I would do that I would do a debit spread to exit. And if I received $125, then maybe once this whittles down to about $75 or 75 cents a share, I would exit. So I'd be giving up half of the premium, but I'd be getting out of the trade much earlier, and then I could go ahead and put on a different trade. So that's just something for you to consider if you decide to put this trade on. Now, if you like seeing trade setups like this, but you would prefer them real time and being able to ask questions or at least help you with different trade scenarios, then consider joining my community. We have a lot of fun. In fact, I have a meet and greet coming up with my community next week. I cannot wait to meet all of these individuals that I have spent so much time with in the markets day in and day out. We're going to get to spend a lot of quality time together, and I'm so excited. So this will be the first of many meet and greets for my community. But for those of you that I haven't met, if you can join me tomorrow evening, I would love to personally say hello and teach you a few things and answer a few questions. Remember, if you're with me trading with Ashley, there is no trader left behind.